Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Megan. I'm a physical therapist, pelvic floor specialist, and a plant-based mom on my own weight loss journey. Today I'm talking about what I learned in just 1 week of tracking my food in MyFitnessPal, and I have to say the results of that shocked me. So several years ago, I lost over 60 pounds following a low-fat, high-carb vegan diet very closely to the starch solution, and I very easily lost a ton of weight. I wasn't exercising or worrying about being strong or mobile or anything like that. I just simply focused on what I was eating. And over the last few years, I've had a lot of stressful things happening in my life, and I found myself snacking all the time, and just constantly gaining weight. So I finally have had enough when I reached my most recent high weight of 180 pounds and some change, and I decided that something had to change. So for the month of December, I decided that I'm going to track my food as much as possible and as closely as possible so that I can get an idea of how much food I'm actually eating. I do have a history with binge eating, which I talked about in a different video, and to some extent the binge eating aspect has gotten better. But recently I have realized that I do a whole lot of snacking, especially at work. Typically when my energy is low, when I'm just trying to like power through documentation, I will sit there snacking. And so I feel like it's really easy to underestimate how many calories that you're eating, especially when you're not primarily eating whole foods. And so I wanted to see just how much I was overeating. In the first week alone, I have lost 3.5 pounds. I did not restrict what I was eating necessarily. I did kind of pay attention to how many calories I was eating and how many calories I was burning based on what was in my Garmin app. But I didn't really restrict myself. I was more mindful of what I was eating for sure. And I did make one change to what I was eating for breakfast. I really tried to get a good breakfast in of oatmeal with fruit and a little bit of flaxseed just to have a good start to the day. And I have just seen such a big change. So the first thing that I realized is how much I was overeating before. When I started tracking, I was weighing my food out and being very mindful of how much I was eating. I was eating more slowly and making sure that I was feeling full. And while logging food in MyFitnessPal is an extra step, which I was not against before because I have done it in the past, but it's just one more thing that I have to do for my day, and so that can feel a little bit overwhelming at times. What I noticed though is that I was very mindful with exactly how much I was eating, and I had a second thought and really like made sure that I was still hungry before getting additional food. I really feel like tracking in MyFitnessPal almost entirely put an end to the mindless eating and the mindless snacking that I was doing. This past weekend we went camping at the races. It is from Friday to Sunday, like we come home Sunday afternoon. And in the past, like even when I was really hardcore starch solution, I would see an increase in my weight on Monday morning after coming home from the races, just because I did find that I was snacking more, I was eating more of like the convenience foods. Again, I do follow a plant-based vegan diet, and so I wasn't eating like dairy or meat or any of that, but I was eating more processed foods, easy foods, snacky kind of foods. And so this past weekend I did not have that happen. I did bring my scale with me. I did weigh out things here and there. I ate more slowly, more intentionally, and coming home from the weekend I was down from what I was on Friday. Now, it was not a ton from where I was Friday, but the fact that I was not up in weight is huge for me, just based on my past experience. So one thing that I learned in this just 1 week of tracking is how much power just awareness in general has in aiding in weight loss, potentially. Maybe not for everyone, but for someone who is changing the way that they're eating, trying to do better, trying to see exactly how many calories they're eating, maybe feeling like they're not overeating, but then not seeing the results that they want on the scale or in the mirror. Tracking food can be absolutely game-changing in the sense of, you know for sure how many calories are coming in, and then you can kind of guesstimate how many calories are going out based on several different things. You can use a Garmin or a Fitbit, something like that. There are calculations that you can do to estimate your total daily energy expenditure if you're not sure, or if you don't have like a smartwatch or something like that. And so you can truly figure out, based on how the scale is moving, how much you're eating, how much you're thinking that you're using, like energy wise, and you can do the math on that and see if what you're doing through exercise and your diet is actually working and getting you the results that you want to get. So going forward, I do plan to continue tracking as much as possible, maybe not perfectly throughout the month of December, or even perfectly from like day to day, but doing the best that I can in tracking my food for the month of December. So I will probably have another follow-up video on tracking my food for 30 days and that kind of thing. But in this first week alone, seeing a 3.5 pound difference when all I've been seeing is up 2 pounds, down 1 pound, up 2 pounds, down 1 pound. When that is what I've been seeing, and now I'm seeing this consistent decline or decrease in my weight, is absolutely huge. So my one takeaway from this video is that if you are struggling to lose weight, I highly recommend that just for 1 week, you track your food intake in either MyFitnessPal or some other calorie counting app, so that you can truly see how much food you're eating and see exactly where you're at. Because if you're tracking your weight and you're tracking your calories and you're tracking your exercise, you can get a pretty good idea just in 1 week of if how much you're eating is putting you in a calorie deficit or if it's putting you in a calorie surplus. Let me know down in the comments below if you have any questions, and also if you track your food, let me know what surprises you've had in the process. If you like videos like this, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.